slowing down on uploads for a bit, mainly because there is a larger lull period between set releases. In regards to today's Meta Monday episode, it's Queen's Gambit. This video features the new Chessmon cards that were released in BT13, and while you have seen a few lists already, this video will not feature just one, but two different variants, whether you want to utilize Feat Chessmon or the Jumbogamemon variant. Each variant has similar bases, but their top ends, tamer cards, and options completely change. This deck was fun to not only playtest, but to see in action. But without further ado, let's check out each of these variants. Level 2 wise, there's really only one egg that all of these decks run, and it's Pagumon from BT6. Because this Digimon can reveal potentially a Chessmon Digimon to hand to proc your Chessmons on deletion effects, it's a great addition. Alternatively, if you build wide enough and promote out Tsunamon from EX4, this egg can guarantee you a draw when one of your other Digimon digivolves. Regardless, there's a lot lacking with Digitamas in the black color, for now anyway. Level 3 wise, every variant of the deck runs 4 copies of all the pawnchessmon currently available. Yellow-black pawnchessmon gives inheritable reboot, and on deletion, if it's your turn, you may play one level 3 or lower Digimon card with Chessmon in its name without paying the cost. If you have 8 or more cards that have Chessmon in their name in your trash, add 2 to the maximum level. The black-yellow variant, on the other hand, is a blocker and on deletion on your opponent's turn instead. But your last level 3 could have several options to make it having at least 12 in the deck. Number 1, Chumon as a floodgate. Number 2, Junkmon for inheritable on deletion, gain 1 memory. And finally, BT13 Gatsumon. This Digimon is another option for the Jumbogamemon build, mainly because you can play Digimon out for another blocker. For more defensive routes, definitely play Gatsumon, but for a more aggro approach, Junkmon has more utility. For level 4s, the lineups are almost identical between traditional, Jumbogamemon, and Jijimon. First up, the knightchessmon. They're identical to their respective pawnchessmon in terms of both type of effect and passive ability. Both have an on-deletion effect that lets you play one level 4 or lower Digimon with Chessmon in its name. While not as strong as the level 3, it still gives you a free body. Black-yellow has blocker, while yellow-black provides inheritable reboot. For more defensive builds, you'll play Sephirothmon as a means to force your opponent to attack you, while Mercurymon is played more in aggro for its flexible defense and offense capability. For level 5s, I gravitate both builds towards Rook Chessmon and Mamemon. Mamemon is probably the most expensive card of the deck, considering he jumped briefly to $8 a copy. Granted, the hype has died down, but this Digimon on play and when digivolving reveals the top 5 cards and plays any tamer with a cost of 4 or less without paying the cost. The rest of the cards get bottom decked. A valuable card for not only its ability to play any tamer, but also for the fact that when you play another Digimon, it gains blocker once per turn on your turn. As for Rook Chessmon, it's the blocker and has an on-deletion effect that plays one level 5 or lower Digimon with Chessmon in its name. For a traditional variant, Bishopmon may be tempting to play, but still, Mememon does a lot of work. And for your level 6s, this is where things are interesting. In some variants I tested, I have to say Shadow Seraphimon is just a mandatory 2 of. It recovers on deletion and can de-digivolve when your opponent attacks. What's not to like about it? But when it comes to whether you want to be more offensive or defensive, this is where the decks for the most part deviate. Jijimon's when digivolving lets you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, then you may play one tamer from among them without paying the cost. Basically, if you have Mamemon, that's one tamer, and then Jijimon is another. But the best part is when you attack, for each green or black tamer you have, reveal one card from the top of the deck and play any number of green or black Digimon whose total play cost adds up to 10 or less among them without paying their cost. Granted, none of your Digimon give rush, but it's the element of being able to have a large board for next turn to wipe out your opponent. Jumbogamemon, on the other hand, uses tricks like Laplace's Demon as a combat trick to force your opponent's Digimon to attack. By doing so, you can block the Digimon and then set up additional blockers. Some variants choose to utilize Queen Chessmon as their aggro means of attacking, but she also acts as a blocker. And conveniently, you can unsuspend multiple times when your Chessmon Digimon is deleted. meaning you could alternate your blocks amongst your Chessmon Digimon if you have multiple. In regards to your level 7s, I personally like Quartzmon in both variants. This can put a damper on a lot of decks and can be easily digivolved into and keep turn. This Digimon can trash multiple security given the right conditions. However, I've seen some players even utilize cards like Omnimon's Wart and Omnimon's Wart Defeat. One offers a bit of wider board building and blocker capability, while the other can be a surprise out of security or a digivolve up to delete Tamers. But personally, Quartzmon is the supreme game finisher or even board blocker while you try and catch up to your opponent. Option card wise, I felt when you're more aggro, you want more defensive option cards. And for defensive, you want more option cards that, wait, make your opponent more aggro? Oh yeah, that totally checks out. For the Jijimon variant, Digi-Dimension is a classic black card that in my mind is the MVP of black option cards. While Ultimate Flare is nice, not always does it de-digivolve enough to delete. And of course, Flame Hellscythe for some more onboard shenanigans. For Jumbogamemon, the best option card for this deck is Laplace's Demon, an option card that forces one of your opponent's Digimon to attack at the start of their main phase. However, if it's checked in security, it simply adds to your hand. Tamer-wise, the usual suspects appear. Izzy Azumi for memory fixing and being a potential card that can flip it to your turn. Only downside for both variants is the Keenan Crier. 4 copies of Miki Kurosaki and Megumi Shirakawa because you're playing a Chessmon deck. Luckily, when a 2-color black and yellow Digimon is played on all turns, suspend her to draw 1 and gain 1 memory. On play, this also lets you play 1 pawnchessmon from your hand without paying the cost. Keenan Crier is similar in that you force your opponent to make the choice on play to gain a card and memory, but in regards to its all turns effect, it affects all players, not just you, unlike Miki Kurosaki and Megumi Shirakawa. But that's pretty much the deck. Strength-wise, it plays really fun and catches your opponent off guard, especially if they don't know which variant you're on. But weakness-wise, you lose against several things. Wargreymon rating doesn't care, because it can unsuspend and attack again. But the real kickers that can out your board are cards like Death Exmon, and in some instances, a Mirror Quartzmon. I won't go too in depth with the combos because I highly recommend experimenting with the deck yourself to find what works for you. But in general, what did you enjoy or not enjoy about this deck? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And again, content may be lagging for a bit because I'm honestly pursuing a few other things right now. But fret not, some more set review will be hitting the channel soon. This is Digi-Panda, logging out.